In an age of 24/7 media saturation, constant surveillance, and obsessive fan culture, how can a superstar athlete simply disappear? These are individuals watched by millions, their every move analyzed. They live under the brightest spotlights imaginable. And yet, in a moment, they can vanish, stepping off the court, out of the ring, or off a boat, and into thin air. For the world, it's a shocking headline, a baffling mystery debated on sports shows and true crime forums. But for the families left behind, it is a nightmare that never ends, a life frozen in time, defined not by victory, but by a question mark. Today, we investigate the 5 most baffling disappearances in sports history. These are the stories of the void they left behind.
Bison Dele was not a typical NBA star. Born Brian Williams, he was a 6'11" enigma, a key player on the 1997 Chicago Bulls championship team alongside Michael Jordan. He was immensely talented but deeply eccentric. In 1999, at the absolute peak of his career, and in the middle of a $36 million contract, he did the unthinkable. He walked away. He retired at 30 to travel the world. His quest for freedom led him to the South Pacific. In July 2002, Dele, his girlfriend Serena Carlin, and skipper Bertrand Saldo set sail from Tahiti on his catamaran, the Hakuna Matata. They were also joined by Dele's estranged older brother, Miles DeBoard. That was the last time any of them, save one, were seen alive. Weeks later, Miles DeBoard sailed the Hakuna Matata into a Tahitian port, alone. The story he told authorities was incoherent. He claimed a fight broke out, that Dele had killed Carlin and Saldo, and that he, in self-defense, had shot his own brother and dumped all 3 bodies into the ocean. But the story crumbled. Investigators flew to Tahiti and found the boat. The nameplate had been removed, and patches on the hull were covering what turned out to be bullet holes. Meanwhile, DeBoard had fled to Mexico. The families were left in an agonizing limbo. Bison Dele's mother, Patricia Phillips, refused to believe her son, a known pacifist, was capable of murder. DeBoard was the only one with answers, but he had a history of jealousy towards his successful brother. In September 2002, Miles DeBoard was found in a coma in Mexico, having intentionally overdosed on insulin. He died days later, taking the secret of what truly happened on the Hakuna Matata to his grave. He didn't just vanish, he was erased, leaving a multi-million-dollar question mark and a family shattered by a betrayal they could never comprehend. Case 2. The Globetrotter on a Lonely Road. Rico Harris was a basketball prodigy. A 6'9" powerhouse, he was a high school legend who became a Harlem Globetrotter. But his dazzling career was shadowed by a crippling addiction. By 2014, Harris was 37 and fighting for a comeback, not just in basketball, but in life. He was clean, in love, and planning to move to Seattle to be with his fiancée. On October 10, 2014, he began the 1,000-mile drive from his mother's home in Southern California. He was in good spirits. He spoke to his fiancée, then his mother. Then silence. His black Nissan Sentra was found 4 days later, abandoned in a remote parking area in the hills of Yolo County, 60 miles north of Sacramento. His wallet, credit cards, and cell phone were still in the car. But the clues only deepened the mystery. His cell phone contained strange, disjointed videos and photos taken in the darkness. His backpack and other belongings were found scattered nearly a mile away. Most bizarrely, investigators found a single set of giant, size 18 footprints, Rico's size, leading from the car up into the steep, rugged wilderness of the Cache Creek Canyon. But no other tracks were found. No sign of a struggle. No Rico. His fiancée, Jennifer Song, was left waiting for a man who was just hours away from starting a new life. His mother, Margaret Fernandez, who had watched her son battle his demons and win, was now thrown into a new, unbearable fight against an invisible enemy. Was it foul play? A planned disappearance? Or a sudden mental health crisis that led him into the unforgiving wilderness? The lonely road holds its secrets, and Rico Harris, on the verge of his greatest comeback, simply became a ghost. Erica Blasberg was a rising star on the LPGA Tour. With a powerful swing and undeniable charisma, she was poised for greatness. But in 2010, at just 25 years old, that bright future was extinguished. On May 9, 2010, police responded to a 911 call and found Erica dead in her Henderson, Nevada home. She was found with a plastic bag secured over her head. The scene was quickly ruled a suicide by asphyxiation. But for Erica's parents, the official story never added up. The call to 911 wasn't made by a friend or family member. It was made by her physician, Dr. Thomas Hess. The details that emerged were chilling. Dr. Hess admitted to police that he had been at Erica's home earlier that day, found her unresponsive, but did not call 911 immediately. Instead, he confessed to removing items from the scene, including a note and the prescription medications he had been providing her. He only called 911 hours later from his own home.
Why would a doctor compromise a potential death scene? The Blasberg family launched a relentless campaign for answers, believing their daughter was murdered, or that her death was, at minimum, a staged suicide to cover up malpractice. While Dr. Hess eventually pleaded guilty for a misdemeanor for obstructing the investigation, the coroner's ruling of suicide was never changed. For the LPGA, it was a tragedy. For her parents, it remains an unsolved crime. The official report closes the case, but the haunting questions and a doctor's inexplicable actions leave a void of doubt that justice was never truly served.
Case 4. The Cuban boxer who defected to nothing. For many athletes, sport is a way out. For Victor "The Body" Rodriguez, it was his only way. An Olympic bronze medalist for Cuba in 1996, Rodriguez was a national hero. But he craved a professional career, something forbidden by the Cuban regime. In 1999, he defected to the United States, leaving his family and his past behind to chase the American dream. But the dream quickly soured. His professional career stalled. He struggled with injuries and the challenges of a new life. By 2009, he was 37, retired, and living a quiet life in Miami. On April 6, 2009, he was last seen at a friend's house. He was supposed to take a bus to visit another friend. He never arrived. He vanished from a Miami street without a sound. There were no signs of foul play, no ransom notes, no bank activity. The man who had been a star on the world's biggest stage had disappeared with barely a ripple. Did his high-profile defection have consequences? Did his past finally catch up with him? Or was he simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, an immigrant swallowed by the anonymity of a large city? He risked everything to escape one life, only to be erased in another. For his family still in Cuba, there is only silence.
Case 5. The All-Pro Who Walked Off the Field. Our final case is the coldest. In 1945, Clarence "Chag" Shortridge was an NFL All-Pro lineman. In an era of tough men, he was one of the toughest. On December 16, 1945, his team, the Cleveland Rams, won the NFL championship. It was the height of his career. Days later, Shortridge was seen by a teammate. He allegedly cashed his paycheck, said he had some business to attend to, and walked out the door. He was never seen or heard from again. There was no body, no note, no clues. A man at the absolute pinnacle of his sport, a champion, simply ceased to exist. In 1945, there was no 24-hour news cycle. His disappearance was a footnote, a brief mention in a local paper. His family's questions are now passed down through generations. How does a man so public, a local hero, vanish from the face of the earth? It's a void in sports history, a reminder that even champions can be lost to time.
Bison Dele, Rico Harris, Erica Blasberg, Victor Rodriguez, Clarence Shortridge. These 5 athletes are more than just mysteries. They are sons, daughters, and brothers, whose lives ended not with a trophy, but with a question mark. Their fame, their money, and their physical power could not protect them from the unknown. In the end, it only made their absence louder. The public remembers the statistics, the highlights, and the scandal. But their families are left with an empty chair at the dinner table, an unanswered phone call, and a void that can never be filled. These are the disappearances that remind us that the most frightening stories aren't just about what happened. They're about what we will never, ever know.